I used to take my family with me. Like I would
Yeah,
go pull over. Oh, this is a perfect intersection. Hop out, double park, bang, 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 put up the bandit sign, go. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it was part of the hustle, but that led to the first deal. And once you get that proof of concept, I think everything really shifts, right? You kind of prove it not only to yourself, but to the naysayers,
right,
all the
right.
people that looked at us like we were insane.
Yeah, I was definitely seen by that, especially by my family at first. They're like, "You leaving your good job? You're leaving, this behind. You have a whole tour." My son was 2 at that moment, so it was just like
Yeah,
it was shocking for everybody. I was like,
yeah.
"No." One thing I was confident about is that I could have gotten a job anywhere. So
Yeah.
I'm like, that's my worst case scenario.
So you did have a plan B, but you were really determined on that plan A.
Yeah,
Because it takes a lot, right? To
yeah.
hear this concept and stop everything that you've been preparing for. Like as far as the
Mhm.
job that you had, you left it. You were going to school, you put it on pause just to go all in on this, and that's a tough decision, but it seemed like everything worked out. All right, welcome to another episode of the Profitable Path podcast. I am your host, Marco Cabrera, and today we have a special guest, Cecilia Picharddoz. Starting her career in the world of wholesaling real estate, Cecilia closed over 200 deals. Transitioning from real estate into business coaching, she now dedicates herself to helping other entrepreneurs soar to new heights. Let's get inspired by her journey and discover the secrets of her success. How you doing, Cecilia?
Hi, thank you for having me today. I'm really good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today.
Hey, we're excited to have you. I know we were trying to get this done for a few weeks now, so it's
Yeah,
finally, glad that we could get our schedules organized and
I
be able
know.
to get this done.
Yes, I know. I'm really grateful. Thank you for the opportunity.
Nah, awesome, awesome. So let's get right into it, right? So can you share what initially drew you into real estate wholesaling?
Beautiful. Yes. So I come from the medical world. I was working as ophthalmology technician in the Bronx and Montefiore Hospital. And I was always been since I was young. I always wanted to be into interior designing. I love interior designing. I used to watch HGTV all the time, and always been obsessed with it. So there was always I was tired of being in the same situation. I think that's when you really take action. And I used to drive to work every single day and listen to the same ads, which is like flip houses with no money, do this with no money, and all these things. And there was a 3-day event. I went to the 3-day event, and that's when I understood the whole concept of wholesaling.
Mm,
Um, and I was like, oh my God, it was like an eye opener experience. It was something that new information. So it's just like you have that information, and it's just like, oh my God, you just want to take action right away.
yeah.
So that was the ending of 2017. By 2018, June of 2018, I decided to quit my job and go all in into real estate as
Wow.
well. When not having a plan, I just knew that like I was also going to school and going to college in Berkeley College, and also taking my real estate agent license because I always knew that it was real estate, just didn't know how to get my feet into the door. So in all that mess, I was just like, let me put school on pause. Let me put the certification for agents on pause. Also, let me just focus on wholesaling since it can give you a higher return on investment a lot quicker. So of course, I didn't have no negotiation skills whatsoever. I was in the medical field, so it's just like I'm not selling anything.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest hurdle at the beginning because it's just like I never really had to like that hear so many no's at that also was just like, oh my God, it's so scary to be on the phone and hear so many no's before you even hear yes.
Yeah.
So it took me about almost a year to have my first deal, and I
Mhm.
wasn't even able to do it alone as well because I was really scared to like speak to these sellers for
Yeah.
so long. After like 6 7 months all in, I met my friend a friend of mine that I met through the whole world of real estate, and we decided to like combine the two businesses since we were in two different markets.
Nice.
I once understood that I was really good at just selling the assets since I have more information than just acquiring it. So she comes from Wall Street. She came from Wall Street, so she's really good at negotiation. So it was easier for her to acquire, and I would be the one displaying the deals.
Nice.
Yeah, so we kind of did that. We kind of invested together into both our markets, and if she acquired a deal in in my market, I'll give her a percentage, and vice versa. We decided to get an office together and split the bills and everything, since we were in two different markets.
Yeah.
And that's what triggered everything else. Then we just collaborated. I ran out of money to invest back into marketing, and we just decided to keep myself as dispo. And we were just selling properties in Philadelphia, South Jersey, and Baltimore as we continue to grow and evolve in the business as well.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, my story was pretty similar. I
Yeah,
knew I wanted to get into real estate, just didn't know what. I heard that same commercial, learned how to get into real estate with no money, and
yeah,
went to an event, and was like, "Wow, how come everybody isn't doing this? Like, this
right.
makes too much sense." And yeah, I invested in a mentor, learned. Did you do mentorship what after you heard, or you just
Yeah.
went to like YouTube University?
No, no, no. I actually did YouTube University, but I also invested into Fortune Builders was the first one. That's the
Okay,
first event that I went to, and then Cody Spencer
nice.
as well right after.
Did you invest in Fortune builders?
Yeah, so I invested in what I had. I had like
Yeah,
their mentorship goes up to like $50,000
yeah, it's up
to
there.
teach you everything, and I had like $4,000 saved, and that was just giving me the opportunity to just learn about wholesaling alone. Because my
Yeah.
end goal when I went to the event was mainly just to like learn how to flip. Because I know, since I always wanted to do interior designing, my goal was never wholesaling. But with the investment, with the money that I had, it only led me to that mentorship of wholesaling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, wholesaling is it's good, man, because it's low entry fee. You can really
Yeah,
learn a lot, and if you have the hustle and you have the grit, you can
yeah,
really get it going. I
yeah,
mean,
for
it's interesting. You had to get a lot of no's before you got that one yes, right?
sure.
So,
Yes.
was your first method cold calling?
Yeah, cold calling, and then banner. Since my market that I was on my own, I was in Connecticut, um, and South Jersey. So I was in like East, oh no, and East Orange around there. So I would go after working, and go put banner signs like at 11, 12 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
in Connecticut, take the drive and do that as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, the
I
hustle. I
was
used
determined.
Yeah, no, I was the same way. That's the only way you get that first deal, right? And
Yeah,
once, like, I was, I used to take my family with me. Like, I would
yeah,
go pull over. Oh, this is a perfect intersection. Hop out, double park, bang, 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 put up the bandit sign, go. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, it was part of the hustle, but that led to the first deal. And once you
yeah.
get that proof of concept, I think everything really shifts, right? You kind of prove it not only to yourself, but to the naysayers,
Right,
all the
right.
people that looked at us like we were insane.
Yeah. I was definitely seen by that, especially by my family at first. They're like, "You leaving your good job, you're leaving, this behind. You have a whole tour." My son was 2 at that moment, so it was just like
Yeah,
it was shocking for everybody. I was like,
yeah,
"No." One thing I was confident about is that I could have gotten a job anywhere. So
yeah,
I'm like, that's my worst case scenario. You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, so you did have a plan B, but you were really determined on that plan A.
Yeah,
Because it takes a lot, right? To
yeah.
to hear this concept and stop everything that you've been preparing for. Like, as far as the
Mhm.
job that you had, you left it. You were going to school, you put it on pause, just to go all in on this, and that's a tough decision, but it seemed like everything worked out.
Yeah, for sure. The amount of knowledge, the amount of experience, the amount of wisdom that I have now, it's been what, 6 years now, and it just like just by making that one decision, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like it was as scary as anything else, because
Mhm.
like leaving that job was just like, damn, like my son, yes, all those thoughts do come and they rise, but at the end of the day, is having courage to take action.
Are you tired of feeling stuck, unsure how to break into real estate investing? Or maybe you've done a few deals, but now you're struggling to scale. You've heard the success stories, you've seen other flip houses or wholesaling properties, and maybe you've even tasted some success yourself. But you know there's more potential and you're looking for the next step. I get it. I've been exactly where you are. My name is Marco Cabrera, and I spent years building a real estate investing business from the ground up, starting with little to no experience. Now I'm here to guide you on your journey. Through the Investors Club, I've helped hundreds of people, whether they're just starting out or doing a few deals a month, close more deals, scale their business, and build real, lasting success. In the Investors Club, we follow a clear, proven plan to help you succeed in real estate. Learn the basics. If you're new, you'll start with an easy to follow lesson on wholesaling and house flipping. If you're experienced, we'll help you sharpen your skills and identify ways to grow. With the support of our community and practical tools, you'll start finding more deals, improving your processes, and building real momentum. Whether you're just trying to land your first deal or scaling up to six figures, we'll provide the strategies and support to take you to the next level. Now, the only thing standing between you and success is taking the next step. Join the Investors Club community today. It's free and you'll get immediate access to online courses, resources, and a network of like-minded people ready to help you succeed. And yes, it's free. So imagine having the confidence to spot a good deal, the knowledge to close it, and a network of investors to help grow your business. Whether you're just starting or scaling, the Investors Club will guide you from your first deal to consistent long-term success as an investor. Or you can stay where you are, watching others grow, feeling like you're stuck doing the same deals or missing out on opportunities. It doesn't have to be that way. With the right guidance and support, you can move from stuck to scaling. So take action today. Log on to school.com/investorsclub. That's school, SKOOL.com/investorsclub. Let's build your real estate future together, whether you're just starting or ready to level up your game. See you there. So what prompted your shift from real estate, from wholesaling real estate to becoming a business growth expert? Like, where did that happen?
Got it. So being a part of the wholesaling team that we were in, we really took it serious. We were literally working 6 days of the week. Like we were nonstop for about 2 to 3 years. And we were going to events like every quarter we were going to some type of event. We make sure that we invest money into that. During the pandemic, we literally honed in, and that's when we really worked a lot more because we understood, like, okay, like we gotta move with the market, we gotta move with whatever's going on. So this is the opportunity to really take action to the things that we want to do. And at the moment, it was obviously grow $1 million in business and all this stuff. Um, we invested into a business coach, business consultant, and the amount of information that we got, it was mind blowing. We were like, how we were operating business like this for 2 3 years and did not know all this information.
Yeah,
So I got really inspired by it, because it's like, wow, like nobody, like people need this information, like their
yeah,
business will be more at flow, like understanding people's core values, understanding PI, predictive index, understanding who are you hiring for your team is so important. It really can affect, a bad apple can really affect your whole team
yeah.
and your whole business and your whole KPIs.
Hmm.
So I was just like understanding. So for like, once we hired the business coach, we were able to make 300,000 quarterly consistently. After we were going up and down, we were making six figures one quarter, we were making six figures 1 month, the other one would be like 10,000, and it was just like it was a roller coaster of emotions. And we had the opportunity, and I just felt like I was so inspired by it. And after selling properties all day and having the same process and routine, I just felt like, okay, so what's next for me? Since I understand that this is business, I understand that there will be a cap in my money because it's not only my business. And I didn't take it like into a personal perspective. I understood because I had the same mentorship as everyone else in the team,
Yeah.
so I just kept going and just getting inspired on what's next. And before getting into business coaching, I decided to quit, like again in the team, and just go into a construction company and become as an operational manager and teach people how to create an operations for their business. The core values did not align with that company, and I just decided to quit after like 3 months later. um, I can't be the one that's taking their company as serious more than them.
Yeah.
So when I was seeing that behavior, I was like, wait a minute, I already know what I know. I'm not going to go that route. And for like a week and a half, I'm like, oh my God, I quit and I don't know what's next. And my friend that actually I was part of the wholesaling company, she's like, girl, you can do this because you really like helping people and all these things. And I created a whole business plan. 2 weeks later, I had two clients and
Right.
$5,000. And I'm like, oh
Nice.
my God. And it's just like
Good.
the way that I'm very passionate about speaking and helping other people and seeing their growth in their business is just like, okay, I'm destined to be on this coaching industry in this area of the industry. And yeah, that's how I became a business coach.
That's awesome. I mean, you gotta have your why, right? And it
Yeah,
seems like your why is helping people, and once you actually implemented this into your business, you saw the fruits of it, and you're like, "I gotta share that with everybody." And
yeah.
that's the thing with new entrepreneurs when we get into the business, especially, the wholesaling, that specific
Mhm.
business, because you do see high returns, right? There's months you can make, 50, 60, $100,000 in a month, and then you check 6 months from now, it's all gone, and you're like, "Where did it go?" You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
If you don't have control of your business, you're just gonna spiral out of control. So
yeah,
it's so important. Number one, most wholesalers and entrepreneurs that take the risk into gambling it all on themselves, don't know about business, don't understand
yeah.
business, don't understand KPIs, don't understand taxes or structure or any of those
Limited.
things that
Mhm.
make a business successful. Without that, you cannot have a successful business.
Right.
You're just creating another job for yourself. That's probably gonna run out of money.
Yeah, and and that's the beauty of it, right? Because that's how I see it. Like you get inspired to start something in business, or like you have a vision of like, yes, this is what I'm gonna do, but you never been there before.
Mhm.
Like you never experienced that, you never been a business owner. So it's understanding that you have to go through the learning growth, you have to go through the trials and errors, but also understand that you have to build a solid foundation in order for you to have longevity.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, yes, it all depends on your why, it all depends on like your vision, your your goals.
yeah.
Because many people in wholesaling, they started for like to make millions of dollars, some people just want 100,000. So it all depends on their vision, but also understanding that you need to know how to run a successful business, or have the solid foundation in order to have longevity.
Absolutely. Like, I'm able to do this right now on a busy day because my team is running it.
Yeah,
I've learned business, I've brought in coaches that can help me, understand my core values and our KPIs and the responsibility in the meeting, communication. There's so much involved because you want it to run itself, right, ultimately. So, I have a question for you. During your time in real estate, what key skills did you develop that helped you succeed in business coaching?
negotiation for sure. After
Okay, for sure.
communication,
Okay.
communication is key. I think that we all enter like that business world with just what we know, and communication is learning the language of other people, understanding how to present yourself. It's very important. You only have 5 seconds to really like sell yourself, for example. And those skills had allow me to open new opportunities, new doors, and given the energy. And I think also another thing that I can take to my business now is having the faith that I have now and believing in God a lot more. I think that like that is was my missing key. Like I've always believed in God, but I didn't have the amount of faith that I have now. Um, and those skills was developed through the whole journey of wholesaling as well. Because you have to believe in yourself as much, but also not knowing what's next. You don't know when is the next time you're going to get paid. In wholesaling, at the beginning you're like,
Yeah.
deal, you know how many deals we were like, yes, today is closing, and right like a second before you're about to close, it goes left. So
Yeah.
it's just like you go through that emotional roller coaster, that all you can do is just remain in faith and believe in God, because he's the one that's going to sustain everything else for you.
That's so good right there. Remember I was explaining in my business that I was in last,
Yeah.
I felt like God didn't want me there, like,
Mhm.
I don't honor him in this business, and I left
Right.
it. And then I'm like, "All right, God, now what?" Right? But during that time, before I was introduced to real estate, there was a lot of old mindsets that had to shift. You know, it was like he was working on me, like he was breaking off so many negativity that I was holding on to from my past, even toxic people that were in my life, right? So it's like he had to remove and like scrub me to get ready for what he had planned for me, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does play a huge role, I think, in business because you have to have that mindset, you have to have that blind faith,
Oh
and
man.
you gotta trust that what you're going through is for a reason, and that he's got a bigger plan, bigger picture for you. All you got to do is follow steps and be obedient to what he has for you
Yeah.
in front of you. Right?
Yeah. And you definitely got tested the most as an entrepreneur because of that. You have to have blind faith, and that's not easy to do when you're just being tested, and everything around you is just like it feels like it's coming down, but like it's just, it has to come down to in order to come back up. And yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, what is the most common piece of advice you find yourself giving to entrepreneurs?
Good question. Um, One piece of advice that I give to many entrepreneurs would be know your numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Know your
Numbers
numbers.
that tell you a story.
Yeah, know your numbers because it tells you a story. There's 5 departments in any industry, in any organization, and if you know your numbers that comes in every department, it will tell you where the issue may lie majority of the time, because every number tells you a story, and you're able, if you know your numbers, you're able to make you're able to pivot a lot faster than waiting until like putting all the fires out all at once, because you're like not really focusing on the numbers aspect.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, knowing your numbers, even real estate, right? Like when you're analyzing a deal, if your numbers ain't right, you know, you
Yeah,
ain't got a deal.
yeah, 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 for sure. And
Yeah, like
one little thing can like really take the whole deal off. Um,
yeah,
and that was a lot of our trials and errors too when we're learning. We literally have taken construction classes, because we were like, when we sell this deal, we're going to make sure the numbers make sense in all aspects. People just want to focus on one thing and be able to like, no, this is it. No, what's going to give you the confidence to sell something is when you're sure about the overall deal. We used to look at every house as a story, as a project. So
yeah,
it was always exciting. I think that's what I really enjoy about real estate, and I would never be out of real estate for that reason, because every house is a story. How you run the numbers, what the construction aspect, title, all the way to title, and it's just like,
yeah,
wow, everything is just like making sure that it plays on all in all, like the numbers needs to make sense overall, because when you have the confidence in speaking about that asset, the buyer is just like, I want this, I know this works, because she's affirmed, she's assertive of the numbers, she's assertive of the deal that she has. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And that's because we invested also into overall the whole thing. We didn't just invest into making the business grow. No, we were taking construction classes on Saturdays. We were
that's
like,
good.
you know what I mean? Like, no, we're gonna get good, because when a buyer tells me, oh, this costs $5,000. I'm like, no, sir, that actually costs 5,550, whatever the case is, to fix that. If and then it plays the numbers game that way a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. One rule of thumb that I have in wholesaling real estate, I treat every transaction like if I'm going to purchase it myself.
Hmm.
Right? So I know the ins and outs if I were to actually buy it instead of wholesaling it and flipping it and putting it back on the market. That
Hmm.
way, I'm educated on talking to the buyer, right? Like if
Hmm.
he's trying to, because it's all negotiation
Yeah,
from the beginning, you're negotiating with the seller. In the back end, you're negotiating with the buyer. So you just got to really know what you're talking about. Even
right.
when talking to a seller, right? Like you got to know the area. You got to know the comps. You got to know that the house across the street sold for this much, and you can actually show them, right?
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, you're trying to help them out of a problem.
I mean, situation that they're in. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure. And I see many wholesalers that just like, no, I'm in this market, no, I'm on this market, and bound to fail when it comes to that. We stood consistent in the same market, because you have to really study the market and
yeah,
understand it. Like Philadelphia is really block by block. So if you're going based on like, yeah, I'm here, but you're not really understanding the numbers, you're not gonna understand that is block by block, and what you see ARV that's in the next block is completely different than the following block.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the consistency came for us, because we stood consistent with the markets that we were in until we mastered the markets that we were in. We didn't move. And
Yeah.
as much as like the shiny object, like, no, you can make money here, you can make money there, we were focused and determined, because that is what's gonna make you. It's gonna separate you from everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Understanding your market, being an expert in what, your department or what your
Yeah,
market is.
yeah, yeah.
Now, before you mentioned something about every business has five, what was it, departments?
Departments, yeah.
Okay. Can you go over that?
Yeah, sure. So it's first leadership, which is the CEO of a company. It's operations, is sales and marketing, is finance, and personnel, which is the employees.
Yeah.
So based on those five departments, for example, right, if you break it down into the wholesaling world, right, the CEO is responsible for the whole numbers of the revenue of the company, right?
Mhm.
Sales and marketing. How many calls did you make? What lead you to how many offers? What lead you to how many deals came in, right? So that would be acquisition.
Mhm.
This precision, right? Or operations. How many leads they come in.
Mhm.
Once you understand that this amount of leads is going to convert into a deal, and how long it's taking to sell those deals is going to give you an opportunity to have an average, um, average deal size, an average closing dates. For example, transaction coordinator is such a big, huge role in wholesaling. They are accountable to making sure that the deals are closing between 2 to 3 weeks. If you're checking your KPIs on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, and it's taking you 4 to 5 weeks, and you're not addressing that issue to transaction, let's say, for example, it's just like, who's not doing your job?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The cold
Mhm.
callers, how many calls do they have to bring in order for them to convert into a hot lead? You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
checking that, and I know I went to just side note, but I wanted to give you guys an example. But personal is making sure that they're bringing in their, which is the employees, um, and yes, I think I mentioned all of them, which is the leadership, which is marketing and sales, operation, finance, and personnel, which is employees.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think this is so important for people to hear because if you do what you're saying, like, you're a business coach and you help people understand this, right? You
Yeah,
could really forecast what you're going to do every month. Like you could see, and even encouraging too for like a cold caller because they know that it's coming. Like, all right, you did I don't know what the numbers is. I never really did cold calling, but let's say you get a lead every 60 calls, and
yeah,
you're at 55. Like you can rest assured, just keep it up, you're gonna get a lead, right? And
yeah,
that's gonna lead into a closing and revenue, right? Like you could really see where your company's gonna be in 3 months as long as you stay consistent and stay on top of
hmm,
the numbers. So I think it's super important.
yeah.
Um,
And I'm sorry, and
Go
as
ahead.
the owner of the company, you set the tone, you set the culture, and I think that's where also the key lies. We like, because you put someone there, like let's say an employee, if you put a co-caller, you're expecting something in return, but in reality, you set the tone, you set the culture. You gotta continue to encourage them to go, because I think like that's where the communication can lie. We expect them to do it, but when things aren't done, it's just like things go left. And as the owner of a company, you have to make sure that you set the culture, you set the energy. What you want out of your business is what you know, and that just gives you a reflection of your own business. If things are going left and you're not communicating or you're expecting, that just shows you how you are as a leader. And I think leadership is another key to
Yeah.
business. I am so passionate to help business owners with leadership, because they're like, no, but this person should be doing this, but this person, you're going to continue to blame everybody else, but you are the one that's setting the tone. You are the one that's setting that culture. So leadership is taking accountability for what's going on in
Mhm.
your business overall, even if it's not your fault.
Yeah.
And that takes a very level of mindset to understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you said it perfect. Leadership is taking accountability. Like you have to look in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Like your company is going to reflect you.
Yeah,
So as the leader, you got to be aware that leadership is everything. You show me a failing business, I'll ask about the leadership right
yeah,
away.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And same here, because I'm like, what are the issues? He was like, no, this person is like, okay, did you communicate that? Did you this? And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
So how important has mentorship been in your career?
How important?
Yeah, how important has mentorship been in your career?
It is the number one thing, and it's to me is the most important thing, because the more that you invest in yourself, the more the opportunities you can provide or skills you have under your belt. I've done not only mentorship in business. I do a lot of mentorship when it comes to self development on myself, like going to Landmark, going to all these things, Tony Robbins, doing therapy, life coaching for myself, because at the end of the day, you be the one that's putting a cap to your business by having a set of mindset of limitations, right? Because since you are the owner of your company, you got to make sure that you are evolving and growing as well. And mentorship is something that I will continue to do. I will always remain a student, because everyone, you can learn from everyone. And the more that you remain as a student, the more you're able to grow, and
Yeah.
limitation.
Yeah, and it's crazy, right? Once you learn something, you're just like you get the realization that I'm going to be learning my whole life, you
Yeah.
know? And once you understand that it's just not a season, it's a lifetime thing, like things will start to shift. So, can you describe your daily routine or how you manage your time between coaching and your personal life?
So yes. So currently I like to do like 2 days with coaching, like from 9 to 5 with a client. And what I do is just go over all of that stuff. But my daily routine is really, I wake up early. At 5 by 5:30 in the morning, I'm either meditating. I don't pick up my phone until
Mhm.
like 9 a.m. in the morning, because
Does
I
it drive people crazy also? Because I do the same.
yeah, I'm like, I don't care who's trying to call me or anything. I am not, because you got to pour in that energy to you. You are the visionary. You are the driver of your company. So
Yeah,
if you're not pouring into your vision in order for you to continue to develop the company, then you're just gonna be running with undecisiveness. It's going to
yeah,
be hard for you to make a decision. It's going to be hard for you to do anything in your business if you're not putting yourself first. So you have to be disciplined and consistent enough to put yourself first. And that routine for me, it's everything.
yeah,
Meditating, my gratification, my praying, gym, all that stuff comes before anything else, because I have to pour into me in order for me to pour into anyone else. Then
yeah.
I'll start my day, if I have a client, normally I start by 9:30. So I can give myself time to take my son to school, figure it out. But when I do coaching clients, it's a 2 day service
Mhm.
most of the time. And it's just a 9 to 5. And we just sitting together, masterminding for 2 days straight, and take it from there.
Yeah, that's good. You have to have control of your schedule, right? You gotta have and the most that I don't see happen, even with a lot of entrepreneurs, they think they have to be the person to do it. Then you're not giving your team any confidence
Yeah.
to grow, right? Number one. Like I'm always with my team, like, why are you telling me? Did you think about it?
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
figure it
Yeah.
out? Just encourage them to be problem solvers, right? But yeah, that disconnect is so important.
Yeah.
I don't answer my phone. I don't even sleep next to my phone's far away, so
Yeah.
I won't have to check or reach, like, it charges across my bedroom.
Right.
Um, and even at night, I disconnect, and it drives people crazy. Like, "Oh, you didn't have me on." I'm like, "You know what?
Priority.
It is what it is." I do no screen time. I stop pretty much answering calls after, like, 7:30.
Hmm.
Sometimes you might catch me at 8, and that's, so I can focus, be present when we're having dinner, be present when I'm around my wife and my children, be present when I'm around, family and, people I care about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and prayer and everything else, so that disconnect is so, so
Yeah.
important.
And it's definitely a mindset shift that you
It
have
is.
to go through, because when you start a business, it's not like that. I really didn't have the value
No,
that I
absolutely
have
not.
now, because I'm
Yeah,
like, we all got to work, we all got to do this, and I don't regret it, but I did miss a lot of my years of my son's life at the beginning, because it's
yeah,
like even before entrepreneurship, because I was going to school. Remember, I was
Yeah.
having a 9 to 5 job, having school, coming home by 11 o'clock, and he was a 2 year old, so he was scheduled to go to sleep by 8. So that was
Yeah.
painful to me. That was just like, wait, I don't want to go through this. I don't want him. I want to continue to be a part of his life. And then
Yeah.
I decided to get into entrepreneurship, and it's just like, oh, you work more than anything.
Yeah.
So it's just like
Especially in the
setting those
beginning.
boundaries is
Yeah.
very important. And setting those boundaries is not easy. You have to go through mindset shift. You have to continue to evolve, because why you work so hard like that is most of the time is you're in survival mode, because
Mhm.
you're trying to make end meets at the same time, right?
Yeah.
But you working so much more is not being productive,
No.
because you're in the same cycle of like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and that
Yeah.
gives you, it just shocks your nervous system that you don't even get to do any work. When you sit there and you're like, yeah, I worked 10 hours, 15 hours today, how much hours were you productive? You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah. It's
mean?
good.
You're only be like a human being. Most of the time, it takes only 4 hours of productivity in general and in
Absolutely.
total. So
Mhm.
it's like understanding that aspect is like, okay, I gotta just make sure I prioritize my schedule. I prioritize my time a lot better. If
Yeah.
I'm studying for life coaching now, and one thing I do is like from 12 to 1 p.m. that's what I'm sticking to. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's it.
Mhm.
So it's just like having setting boundaries, and learning how to say no. That's
Yeah,
really
learning how to say no is very important. But no, what you're saying is right on the money, because in the beginning of the business, you have to be the acquisitions, the
yeah.
CEO, the transaction coordinator. You
Mhm.
can't afford to put anybody on.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're wearing all the hats. But I was blessed because yeah, I did work and there was a lot of hours that I wasn't productive. You know, I
Mhm.
realized that when I looked at my Instagram time. I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe I wasn't
Right.
working as much as I said I was, right? But once you remove all the distractions and my pastor, our pastor, you go to our church,
Yeah,
he brought it to my attention years ago when Transform first started. That show me the calendar, I'll show you your priorities. And
yeah,
it's true. Once you prioritize and start being accountable for the time that what you spend on certain things, you'll see the difference.
yeah.
And when I got into real estate, I knew I was going to dive in. I knew I was going to sacrifice time with my loved ones. So I had a conversation with my wife about it.
Right.
I told her, "Look, I'm going all in on this." And she's like, "Oh, here we go again." But I sold her when I was like, "No, babe, but this time I'm doing it with God." And she was like,
Mm.
"Okay, okay, let's hear it." And I would pick up my kids from
Yeah,
school after I got out of work, and then we would have dinner together, and then from like about 6:37 until about 2 in the morning, I would focus on only real estate. And I told her it's going to be like this for a while, right? So I gave her that expectation. I just didn't neglect her and tell her, look, I'm
yeah.
trying to build something. Like there was communication there.
Communication.
Yeah, and that's those mindsets that I was talking about that I had to build up before I turned full into real estate,
Mm.
right? So yeah, that's
Yeah,
good. Mindset's very important.
yeah, it's everything, and that's why I'm not gonna lie. It the transition to coaching was not as easy as I had in my mind,
Yeah,
because when you're coaching someone, it's not that you like you know the formula everyone wants, the how to make $1 million, how does this. But in general, when you understand that everyone has the answers to their own success, you're not trying to coach from a place of giving advices. You're trying to coach from a place for them to understand that they have the answer to the thing, is how to get everything that they have in their head on paper in order for them to take action. So it like action is only 20%. 80% is really mindset. And that's why, like, when coming into coaching, it's like, holy crap, like I gotta do some work myself. I need to
yeah,
continue to work on my mindset,
mhm,
right? And I had to go back into like my whole spiritual world and understand that, okay, if I'm preaching this, I have to continue to do the work itself. And that's the reason why it never stops. That's
yeah,
the reason why you continue to develop, because now you taking responsibility for what you preach.
mm,
As a mentor that you are to people that are getting into real estate, you want to make sure that everything you're saying you're actually doing too.
absolutely.
So it gets to a point of that too. Like even for me, like taking this life coach, certification has been a game changer for my business coaching, because a coach, the key is to have the questions, the right questions that will lead them to the answer that they're looking for.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I was just, obviously I come from the experience of having understanding how to grow a sustainable and sustain a business in real estate, right? So it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you my experience, when
Yeah.
in reality is like, no, because not everybody wants to make $1 million. Not
Yeah.
everybody wants to make six figures. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different expectation of what they want. Everyone has God's vision. So is understanding how to get those answers out and on paper in order for them to have an action plan, in order for them to take action. And it's all a mindset game.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I
That's
mean?
good. 80% mindset, 20% action.
Yeah.
That's good. And that's like if you talk to a physical trainer, they'll tell you the same thing about your diet. Like, yeah, you can lift all you want, but if your diet is not right, right? You ain't gonna get the results, my man.
Right,
You know?
right. Everybody wants a six pack, but it's all in
Yeah.
the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, what are your goals for the next 5 years, both personally and professionally?
Woo. I'm very goal oriented, so I have so many. But one of my goals in real estate is to own 150 rentals, majority in Philadelphia, since I do know the market very well, and I still study it to this day.
Nice.
I that's where my goal is when it comes to that. In business, I want to continue to grow $1 million business coaching, have coaches under me as well to continue to evolve. I want to have like a institute to have more people join and understand business from that perspective, just not having the vision. How can we develop a plan for the vision that you have? Because your vision matters, your company matters as well. Sharing, spreading more awareness to minorities to also understand more about entrepreneurship. I wish if I would have had some type of like, hey, it's not going to be easy, but like, I went through a lot of like, I don't want to say depression, but it was a lot of sadness, a lot of things, because as a single mom, it was just like, damn, I'm handling all of this pressure, um, being the provider and also nurturing a child is not
Yeah.
easy.
No.
So that as well. And in my personal life also, one of my goals is to move to Florida. That would be it. Also, I want to open a meditation studio. I'm now doing meditation events in Washington Heights. That's where I came from. That's my neighborhood. And my goal,
Uptown, baby.
yes, my goal is to continue to spread awareness of the importance of meditation. I feel like in our culture, we don't know how important is mental health. We just use the word so briefly on social media, on everywhere, but not really educating. And my other goal is to open a community center in Washington Heights as well, for kids, so they can have financial literacy and also be able to follow their dreams and have a safe space for them to cultivate that.
Wow. Yeah, you do have a lot of goals.
I am.
One more question for you because I know you're super busy. Can you share an experience where you learned a valuable lesson from a failure?
Yes, the first one that comes to mind is
You knew
the
right away, like,
importance, like the importance of your to-do list. I took that for granted for so long, onto like my biggest lesson was last year. I overbooked myself with an important client, with a family event that I had. It was my cousin's graduation that meant a lot to me. He is the first one in the family to graduate from college. And we had planned all this. And then when I look at my calendar, and it's like, oh, shoot, I can't even make it. Like, I overbooked myself.
yeah,
And at that moment, I was so frustrated because for so many years, I've been trying to do this to-do list. I've been trying to do my to-do list the day before. And the importance of the to-do list is to set the intentions for
mm,
it. And I think that just overlooked. Even myself, I overlooked it for so many years. I overbooked myself. I didn't keep my own promises and didn't take responsibility for that because I overlooked a lot of things. I just, I'm just go with the wind and not really set the tone or whatever on my calendar. So that cost me some relationships as well, some
yeah,
some certain things.
yeah. No, that's good, and unfortunately, with failure comes pain, but from the pain comes growth, right?
Yeah.
So, that reminder, you knew right away because it was a painful moment,
Yeah.
and, yeah, a lot of times I just wanna let our listeners know, don't get discouraged when you're going through that season of pain. Understand that it's gonna make you stronger, and,
Yeah.
it's gonna give you a reason to
Right.
push harder.
Right. Right.
Cool. Well, that was awesome. Thank you so much for being on our show today. Thank you for your wisdom, everything that you're sharing. I know our listeners are going to get so much from it. Why don't you let everybody know where they can follow you? Any websites? Any your social media handle?
So thank you for having me, for real. I really appreciate it, especially that you are somebody also that's been in entrepreneurship and in that world. But yes, you can find me. The one that I'm very active is on Instagram, which is Elevate with Ceci. And the website is Elevated Culture at coaching.com. So yeah, those are the two ones that you're gonna find me, and you're gonna have more information about me.
All right, awesome. Thank you again. And don't forget, guys, to follow up, hit up Cecilia for any of your business coaching needs and even wholesaling. If you got a deal, she'll probably got to buy her for you,
I
right?
do. I do.
There we go. Make sure you follow, make sure you like, make sure you comment. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Take care.